Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. It's time for the Jesse T Show. Yes, we are in a undisclosed remote location somewhere deep in the bowels of the California desert, in the bunker of confidence. It's Jesse T with you. Good to have you along with me as we hook everything up, running just a tad bit late today. And it is my fault, and I'm sorry, Lee. But I had to take that afternoon shower. I had to get that shave down. You know what I mean?
That billy goat smell.
Yeah, that billy goat smell down, man. This is really strange. I had a very busy day today. I wanted to get a lot accomplished today, but has this ever happened to you? You've gotten up in the morning and you want to get a lot accomplished, and you set out and you start doing it and everything's fine, and then your eyes get really tired at the computer screen, and all of a sudden your head goes down on the keyboard, and you have nothing but one letter across the keyboard, and you wake up 2 hours later. Has that ever happened to you?
Every day at 5 o'clock.
Oh, you are just plain mean. You know something? You used to be a loving little cuddly Huggy Bear. In fact, you kind of remind me of Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch. I meant to tell you that. You're like the Huggy Bear of the powerofvoices.com. That's what you are. I'm going to start calling you Huggy Bear. Hey, Huggy Bear. How you doing? Huggy.
No, there's already a character out there by that name, and I'm not that person.
Yeah, but you kind of look like, or I could call you Water Boy. Isn't that what the great better. Jim Maddox calls you? Waterhead?
Yeah, Waterhead Boy.
Waterhead Boy?
Yeah, but he actually should have directed that more towards Doug Banks and Guy Brody, because their heads are bigger than mine.
I don't know. Of course, at the K-Day party that we went to, Guy Brody had that big old hat on the whole time, and his glasses
was covering up that skull of his.
Isn't that supposed to mean that you got more brain, or that you have more skull and no brain?
Well, yes.
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one? Yes.
Both.
My daughter was born, Ryan Terrero. When she was born, she was the firstborn, and of course, I was there for the birth and the whole 9 yards, and so she pops out like a jack in the box, right? And she has the biggest head I've ever seen on a female child. It is so big back here, and so the doctor, of course, takes the baby and gives it to Mama T, and go through that whole period of introducing ourselves to our new child. And I just kept putting my hands on her head. I said, "Boy, we got a lot of brains to fill up here." And it's really odd because Ryan is super intelligent. I mean, she has this ability to have this sort of sixth sense about things. And some people have that and some people don't. It's sort of something that just kind of comes up. My grandma had it. My mother had that. And my daughter has that. And maybe that's back in this area. That's where that part of the brain is not developed for most mortals. Because she kind of knows things that she shouldn't know. It's kind of that psychic ability. Do you believe in psychic ability, Lee?
Psycho ability?
No, psychic ability, not psycho. If you believe in psycho ability, then you believe in me.
I do, yes. I think some people do possess that capability.
Do you know anybody in your life that possesses that capability?
Yeah, a couple people. And it's kind of eerie and scary because they know things that they shouldn't know, and they discuss them with you, and you go, how the hell did you know that? or they predict stuff that's going to happen and it happens.
Yeah, that my mother had the ability to know where I was at when I can't figure out how she knew where I was at. This was, the time before. This was a time way before, cell phones and pagers. When I was a teenager, she had this crazy ability to be able to find me, and I could never figure. I could never get away from the woman. I tried, but I couldn't. But she had this ability to find me all the time. And I said, how the heck did this lady do this? And I think that women have that ability more than men. I for some reason. That's kind of what I think. I think that women, they have that opportunity to have that more in their realm of bag of tricks. You know what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to get this light right. I'm like dying with this light. This is like Disco Saturday Night. Dying with it. It kills me. I should have did this light earlier today. It's really weird. You can't find any light, and then you're in a dark shadow. It's like shadows in the night. No matter what you do, you can't find the light. It's crazy. There we go. There it is. I think I got it. By George, I think he has it. And you're seeing the light crew at work right here on the Jesse T Show, and of course the light crew is me. All right, let's switch this around here. Yes, this is a. You see, it goes dark because I don't have enough light there. Lee, I'm gonna have to buy a light to put right above in front because this is not working right. I'm not getting any reflected.
You look
light.
okay. I don't know. What do you want to look like, Casper the Ghost?
Oh, now I found the light. Praise the Lord! And God said, "Let there be light." Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. So anyhow, so much for psychic ability. But it's time for the Jesse T Show as we meander along here. A couple of things here. I wanted to reach out to Jeff Langton. And in fact, Lee, can you I better not have you write this number. I'm gonna text you Jeff Langton's phone number. Can you give him a call for me?
Sure.
Because we're going to talk a little bit of boxing. We're going to talk a little bit of boxing later on because there's a big boxing event coming up this weekend, which we are going to be participating in on the Jesse T Show. We've got a big Don King Bob Arum production at the StubHub Center. You drive down there sometimes on your Uber pickups and Lyft pickups, don't you, Lee?
Sure.
So it's a beautiful place. If you've never seen an MLS Galaxy game there, or a LA Football Club Galaxy game there, or I believe the Chargers are playing there right now until they get their huge stadium built. But this is I'm going to text you. I'm going to text you his phone number because Jeff Langton is my he is my go-to guy. He does the ringside announcing with me. And I'm going to call him right now and tell him I'm going to give you his number. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. This is Jesse T. I'm just talking to you on the phone. I don't have you on the air, but everybody's watching me talk to you. I wanted to have Lee, the guru of high tech, give you a call on the studio line. And I want to talk about a little bit about that big fight that's going on this weekend that you're going to be down there, participating with, and the thing we're going to be doing tomorrow, maybe in about 35 minutes. Will you be available? No, I told you, you're not on the air right now. Listen to me. Listen to me. See, I'm talking to this guy, and I'm telling him to listen to me. And when I do that, I got to make sure he doesn't know where I'm at. And I'm like 75 miles from him. He got a long right hook. So we have. Are you going to be down at the StubHub Center this weekend? Okay, I'm going to have Lee. I'm going to have Lee give you a call. Okay, on the studio line, so it's a clear phone line, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on tomorrow that the Jesse T Show is going to be out at, and you too, as well as what's going on down at the StubHub Center this weekend. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to have Lee give you a call, probably in about 30 minutes. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Okay. So I guess I'll have to send you his phone number now, right, Lee? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could have given him the studio line. He could call in, either or.
Lee, would you just quit playing tic-tac-toe, okay, and listen to my show? Oh, did you hear that rhyme? Oh, man, you didn't know I was a rhymester, did you? Yes.
Multi-talented, you are.
Oh yeah, I know. I impress you every day. Yeah, huh? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm calling you right now. Oh no, I'm texting you right now, but I'm trying to get his number. Jeff Langton is my boxing guru. He was the Pope of Oak Street, had his own gym for 10 years, and been in dozens and dozens and dozens of professional world championship fights as a cut corner and trainer. And when we go out and do fights, MMA fights and boxing fights, he's my color guy, and I'm the guy that does the round by round. So we've got a big boxing thing. I'm going to bring him on board. Also, he's a Jolton J, and the Jolton J, he's got a rock blues band, which is kind of cool, you know. And now I got to find his number. Okay, there it is. All right. And so I wanted to chat with him because tomorrow, guys, we're going to be out at the Sheraton Hotel in downtown by LAX. And the reason why we're going to be there is because we are going to be covering a event for the Don King, the man with the hair. You know, the big bouffant hairdo here. He doesn't wear it like that anymore because I think he's losing his hair. But we're going to be covering a big event that he's got going on at the StubHub Center. So we got to cover that media junket tomorrow. And we'll be broadcasting that live here on the Jesse T Show prior to the Jesse T Show at 5 o'clock. So we'll be up on Facebook and YouTube from the Sheraton. So that'll be kind of cool. And we'll see what Bob Arum and Don King got for us this weekend at the StubHub Center. So I wanted to chat a little bit about that. Also, just to let you know, programming note, tomorrow, Pete Antico is checking. It's like all boxing this week. It's weird how that pans out. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to go down to the Newport Film Festival, and Pete Antico, stuntman, writer, actor, producer, director. Anyhow, he had debuted his brand new documentary. He and his partner Gary Stretch, he's a world champion middleweight boxer. The story of Rowdy Ronda Rousey, and it's really terrific. I swear to God, guys, this is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in terms of the sports agenda. I learned so much about Ronda Rousey. Unbelievable. Her story is really unbelievable. Well put documentary. Just, you know, it tugs at all your emotions, and you really get to meet her team. And the whole team was there, so we had a question and answer thing. Very cool. And I got a chance to hang out with Judo Gene LaBelle. And that's all posted up there on our Facebook.com/Jesse Torero site. So, you know, you got to check it out because That is a fantastic movie. You can go to IMDb, Pete Antico, Antico, and check out the trailer there and find out where it's playing at such different festivals and stuff. And I think you can download and watch it. You got to watch it. If you are a Ronda Rousey fan, a Rowdy Ronda Rousey fan, this is a great, great documentary. I know it's really terrific. And I implore upon you to check it out. So he's going to be coming in tomorrow about another project he's got going on, and we're going to have him in on the Jesse T Show as we catch the vibe. Dan the Man's going to be here with us tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And we always love Dan the Man, and so we'll be doing that as well. See, tomorrow is a fun, packed day of a lot of stuff going on. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm sending a text to Lee. I'm sending you this text, Lee, of Jeff's phone number. So you got it? And tell me when you get it. Tell me you got it. When you get it, you get it. Tell me you got it. I got it. So you got it. Boy, I tell you, don't you love technology? I'm thinking we give him a call. It's 26 after the hour. So I'm thinking we give him a call, maybe about 40, maybe about 10 minutes, maybe about 15 minutes before the hour, and I bring him up sometime between 15 and
Roger.
15 and 50, somewhere in there. Okay, 45 and 50. Cool.
Roger.
Okay.
10-4.
Roger Rabbit. 10-4. Broderick Crawford, California Highway Patrol.
6-2 even, over and out.
That's right. Roger. 10-4. One Adam 12. See the man at 6733 South Sepulveda Boulevard. He's known as Big Head Lee. Okay. Why did this happen? Now my mouse gets disconnected. Isn't that crazy? I guess that must be karma. Hey, there's lots to talk about today. So let's get to it right now as we goofed around here for about 20 minutes. So I've got tons of stuff to talk about. And one of the things I'm going to talk about right now is called Grace Under Fire. I got to tell you, this comedian, I wish they would end this presidential press conference for the media. It's really started to go awry maybe 15 years ago. I never liked it, the presidential press conference during the Obama era. I thought it was really stupid and silly. It started way back in 1961 through 1963, and it was a fun event where people got together from the different ideologies, and they could go out in the evening. It was actually an all-male event at the first time when it aired. It was not a event that women could go to at the time, but there weren't many women in media at that time in the early 60s. Of course, it evolved like everything does, and fortunately for everybody. But one of the things that they used to do, it used to be a party atmosphere, and some of the greatest superstars would perform there. They would sing. Barbra Streisand performed at some of them. They would do little skits. They would have a little bit of a roasting going on, but it was all done in fair jest, and it wasn't vicious. But in the last 15 years or so, maybe 20, it's gotten really vicious to the point that what happened this last weekend is absolutely disgusting. Vicious to the personal side on Sarah Huckabee. What you may or may not think about Sarah Huckabee, whether you may or may not think she is smart or attractive or intelligent or speaks her own mind, the thing is, you don't lambaste somebody like that. If you ever got the opportunity to see Don Rickles, he was the greatest. Don Rickles at this roasting stuff. Don Rickles' whole shtick was jabbing at the audience, jabbing at the stars, doing these 1 and 2 and 3 liners. He was just so fast, but everybody loved Don Rickles. He was a cherished and loved guy. You know, he never did anything with any angst in his heart, any anger in his soul. It was all done in jest. And you should go to Google or YouTube and check out some Don Rickles, especially the Dean Martin roast. I grew up with those roasts. The Dean Martin roasts where a bunch of stars would get together and roast somebody. And they held no punches, whether you were black, white, brown, Asian, woman, man. They held no punches. They laid it out. And a lot of it was kind of controversial at the time, guys, but it was never done with any spirit of meanness. You always got the sense that when you were watching it, you could laugh with them and nobody was hurt. But boy, this woman, I don't even want to repeat her name. I don't even know where she came from. She has a scratchy voice like fingernails over a chalkboard, a witchy kind of voice. She kind of reminded me, her voice reminded me of the Wicked Witch of the West. Is that the one that Dorothy's house landed on in The Wizard of Oz? Right? She has that scratch, just horrible. And her routine was not funny. And she just drilled Sarah Huckabee to the point that it was embarrassing. And you talk about grace under fire. I certainly wouldn't have stood there and taken that. I would have got up and gone over and slapped the witch. Yeah, I swear if I was a woman. There was no reason for that. It was not funny at all. In fact, she was not funny at all. And it's gotten to the point where this event is just a free-for-all brawl. You know, they don't come together. They don't have a good time. And it's who can take the punches at whoever can take who's there to receive them. And it's not good. And I started disliking it a lot under the Obama administration and even under the Bush administration. I started disliking it a lot. And I absolutely think they should cancel and stop it. I'm so glad that this president, President Trump, doesn't participate in that. Absolutely not. I would boycott the whole thing. It's just terrible. So, great kudos to Sarah Huckabee. And you talk about grace under fire. Absolutely. What a gracious person she was. The camera shots of her when this lady is doing her thing, this Michelle Wolf Scum. That's what I call her. Wolf Scum. Terrible. What happened to comedy and decency? I don't like much of the comedy out there today because they're so profane and they use nothing but profanity and they use nothing but this type of words. What happened to the clean comics? The comics that weren't so geared up in horrible talk, racist talk, hate talk, the profanity, disgusting behavior as a stand-up comedian. I don't know what happened to the comedians of the day, but I certainly don't find a lot of the comedians very funny at all, especially her. Just horrendous and terrible, in my opinion. Hey, what do you guys think? Do you think there's people on Mars? I think they ought to send this wolf scum to Mars. Do you think that there are actually people, human beings, living on Mars and the moon? I mean, do you ever follow these alien hunters? And I'm not talking about the illegal aliens sitting on the border. I don't think we should let any of them in unless they do pass the muster. They pass the test. You know what the test is? To let somebody in who comes in as a person that has been treated really bad in their country for asylum. The litmus test is this, and a lot of folks don't know that. Here's a litmus test. Your government, your country where you came from, has to have the type of government that is attacking its own people, killing and murdering and raping and pillaging its own people from a government point of view, a corrupt government like a dictatorship or something like what happened in World War II, or what happened in Cambodia, or what happened in some of these slaughtering of mass amounts of people, of their own people. But it has to come from the government. The government has to be the bad guy. Just because you're town or your city has a drug cartel or a gang cartel, or anything like that running in the streets amuck and wild, if it's not government-based actions of violence against you, you do not get asylum in America. And that's the litmus test. When you say, I want asylum in America because I'm being treated horribly, and if I go back home, I might die, I might be killed, my family might be killed, that you have to say to them, why? Why is it? And the first question they ask is the government doing it not only to you, but to many others. And if it isn't that, then you are not allowed to become get in the process of becoming a citizen of the United States of America. I got no problem with that. So unless these people that are at the border can do that and prove that, they should not be allowed in this country. They should not be allowed in this country. You just can't walk to the border and say that you want political asylum. You're a refugee and you're looking for asylum. I'm sorry. Well, then stay in Mexico. They've already given it to you. Anyway, they speak your language, and you'll find more work in Mexico than you'll find in Central America. So why do you want to come to America for? Well, obviously you want to come to America because everybody wants to come to America because it's the greatest nation God ever created in the history of the planet Earth. That's why. It's just that simple. And so everybody wants to come here. But not everybody can come here. Otherwise, we'd have a population of 7 billion people. Did you know that you can take 7.5 billion people on the planet Earth that are living today, every child and every adult, even an aged senior, and child being born right now at this moment, you could take all of the people on the planet Earth, give them an acre of land. That's 43,560 square feet. That's a lot of land, guys. That's a lot of land. And put them all in the state of Texas, and there would be nobody else on the planet Earth. Yeah. So this whole thing about climate control, this whole thing about overpopulation, the destruction of water, food, and all, it's a lark. It's not true. It's a fabricated story to impose a manipulation on what they want the population and the masses of the general public, the eons and eons of peons like you and me, to move in a certain direction and think a certain way. When you can take all the population of the people of the planet Earth, give them one solid acre of land, and put them all in basically in an area the size of the state of Texas, and nobody else on Earth is available to find anywhere, we don't have a population problem. What we have is we have a people problem. We have an elite oligarchy people problem. That's what we have. That's imposing their will, the select few, on the masses. And they lie to us. Fake news. They lied to us. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They lied to us. This illusion. They elicit these hatred and race-baiting feelings. Have you noticed that in the last 10 to 15 years, it's gotten worse and worse and worse in terms of the social experience in this country, at least? Now, whether or not it is worse or not, they never show any of the good stuff, do they? They never show any of the good police officers not shooting somebody. They never show any of the good people doing good things for the less fortunate in our country, do they? Why is that? It's not interesting. People don't care about that. People want to look at people suffering and say, hey, man, I'm glad that's not me. I'm better off than they are. Yeah, it's really kind of disgusting. But anyhow, do you think that there are aliens on Mars and we are the aliens on Mars? This is what I believe. I think you can't tell me that in 1973 we just decided to stop all technology in terms of space exploration. You just can't tell me that. You can't say that to me and keep a straight face, that we send people to the moon and we send these great satellites out. And what I'm doing is I'm reaching back and getting my power control because one of my computer cameras is going to about ready to die, so I'm going to plug it in. But you can't tell me that we left the moon and have never gone back there. Come on, guys. The technology, that we turned off the technology button and we've never gone back there and we've never gone any farther than the space station and the shuttle. Please, for me to believe that, you got to tell me, for me to believe that, then you've got to sell me the Golden Gate Bridge because it's for sale for $25.62, and you'll give me a deed to the Golden Gate Bridge, and I got to believe you, okay? Because that's absurd. You think that the quantum physicists and the scientists and the government have said, "Oh, we're not going to go there anymore. It's too expensive to the moon. We're not going to go there anymore." Come on, guys. Really? Really? I fear not. I've always questioned that stupid storyline that they do. I believe that they found things on the moon. I believe that we do have a secret program, a space program. I truly believe that. In fact, Trump even slipped up a couple of months ago when he was talking about this, because sometimes he does have sleight of tongue. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I do like his frankness, though, that's for sure. But I think that we have a space fleet. I really do. I honestly do. I think it's housed in the Antarctic, or it's housed in some of these deep underground military bases. Stuff happens at night. I happen to the Jesse T compound, the Torero compound, happens to be by a Air Force base, and it happens to be by a base where they make all these Raptor and F-22s and these super sophisticated aircraft for the United States military, where McDonnell Douglas and Grumman and Lockheed and Skunk Works, they all are at. And I got to tell you, you hear stuff and see stuff at night all the time. And it all happens at night. The craziest sounds are at night when you're near these types of bases. It's everything goes on at night in the cloak of darkness. You know, better than a Klingon cloak. I mean, the cloak of darkness, right? So we have things going on that we don't know about. Well, I believe we are not only on the moon and we have bases and we've been mining the moon. I also believe that we were off planet and we've been on Mars for at least 2 decades. I do, and these little rovers roving around, you know, they're there because they're conditioning the public to accept the fact that we're going to be flying to Mars here real soon. And there's a reason for that. They just need slavery. They need people who want to go to Mars. They've been there. We have military bases. The elite have been there or fund it all. I mean, how do you think the CIA gets its money? It gets its money through, they're the biggest drug cartel in the world. Nobody even comes close to the CIA in peddling drugs. The great experiment of cocaine and crack into the African American community in the late 70s and the 80s showed the CIA how they can destroy families all around America by the use of cocaine and then cheap crack. Yeah. I mean, they destroyed African American families by catering to the greed of criminal entrepreneurs, that all they cared about was not their own people or the American people or any people of any race, religion, color, or sexual preference. They only cared about the almighty green dollar bill. And they exploited them and made them very, very wealthy. There's story after story after story. I mean, how do you think the Crips got going? Think they got going because they were funded by, you know, Warren Buffett? No, they got going because they were funded by the CIA. CIA gave cocaine and crack to the Crips and the Bloods. That's what they did. Destroyed families here in Los Angeles. I was there in the early 80s and through that decade of all of that. I saw it happening. It's unbelievable. So, well, how do you think the CIA, all of a sudden we have an opiate problem? How do you think the CIA funds all that? Funds all their secret programs? Well, we own all the poppy fields in Afghanistan. There's more poppy fields in Afghanistan than anywhere else in the world, and the United States Army guards them. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? There's so much out there that we don't know in terms of that respect. That secret money, that deep, dark, secret state money. Mm-hmm. So I believe we've been on Mars, and the reason why they're having us now kind of get condition to go to Mars is because they need slave labor. Yeah, yeah, it's just that simple. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but that's what I've always believed. If you think for those of you who think Donald Trump is the root of all evil, is Satan reincarnated, is a racist and a hate baiter, well, you guys are completely wrong, and we can argue that position at another time. But there are presidents that make Donald Trump look like chump change. You've got to study history to understand where we are in our place in the present. And history tells us about some presidents that were unbelievably corrupt. Unbelievably corrupt. It's really unbelievable. If you think Obama was corrupt, which I do, and I think Obama was one of the worst presidents the country ever had, you can align him with Clinton's and Bush, but there is a president that is even worse than all of those. Whatever it is that you think about the current president, and I think about the past presidents, there's a president out there that makes these guys look like chump. It looked like chump change. It's unbelievable. And that's President, you probably don't even know who this president is, Woodrow Wilson. This guy made LBJ, Obama, Clinton, and the Bushies. And I don't think Trump is anywhere near as bad as those people I just mentioned. This guy makes all these guys. If you do, that's okay. That's your opinion. But this guy, Woodrow Wilson, who was a Republican, it's unbelievable. He was owned by J.P. Morgan, the great banker, Chase Bank. J.P. Morgan was once the richest man, one of the richest men in the world. Okay, and J.P. Morgan is a lieutenant in the Rothschild banking empire. Okay, it kind of goes like this, guys. Here's the pecking order of the elite. People ask me to say this all the time because I talk about it. It's like this. You have us, the people, using like my fingers, right? We're the people. We're the people, okay? And then from the people, you have the politicians. You have the politicians right here. You got 4 fingers instead of 5. You got 4 fingers. The politicians right here, right? You got the politicians right here. Then the politicians, you have the corporations. So you got 3 fingers on the corporations, right? 3 fingers on the corporations, right? Then you have the banks. You have the banks, right? You have the banks, right? Because they own all the corporations because they give them money, right? And then you have the insurance companies. You have the insurance companies because the insurance companies insure the bank's money. They insure everything, right? The insurance companies. Then you have the IMF. You have the IMF, right? The IMF. The IMF is in Basel, Sweden, and they run all of the centralized banking systems around the world. And they are the owners of the international monetary and currency, okay? Which we use the dollar bill for that, the exchange rate, okay? And then the IMF is owned by the Rothschilds. So now, and the Rockefellers, okay? The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They're the ones that created the IMF after World War II, all right? And then the IMF is owned by one source, the Vatican. The Vatican. Because the Rothschilds are the bankers of the Vatican. Also, the English monarchy is thrown in there as well. Okay? Why do you think they were the only monarchy that wasn't destroyed in World War II? Put 1 and 1 together, guys. Put it together. All right? So now you have the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the English monarchy owning the IMF. Okay? And the Vatican owns that. So you see, they had to create in 1913 and 1917 a way to get into your pocketbook. They had to create a way to do that. Okay? And they did that through the IRS. Because prior to that, only the wealthy in the United States of America paid taxes. That's it. The wealthy have been paying taxes way farther, way before you and I paid taxes. Right? So They had to create a way to get into your pocketbook to control you, not to get your money, but to control you. That's really what they had to do. Because if they control your money, they control you. It's just that simple. All right. And then they had to create a way in which to house your money and to control the IRS and to control everything in this country, commerce-wise and economics-wise. And that's when they created in 1913, the IRS Tax Reform Act, Woodrow Wilson signed off on, and the Federal Reserve. And we've had it ever since. Yep. And I don't know what your thoughts are about those two entities, but none of them are illegal in the United States of America. We never voted on them. The states never ratified them. These were by executive orders by Woodrow Wilson during his presidency in the dead of night when no one was around. That guy's the most traitorous president because what he did is he did treason against you, every single living American. He sold this country out to those entities that I just mentioned. He is worse than the collective of all of them, because all of them have had to work within that system now. Otherwise, they get murdered like JFK. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but I'll tell you what, do some homework on that. Woodrow Wilson, just horrible. And since then, we have been run by the Federal Reserve and the IRS. They can make your life miserable. All right? Absolutely. It's unbelievable what we should know in this country versus what we don't know in this country. So I know we're trying to get in touch with the Joltin' J, Jeff Langton. Lee, I don't know if you've been able to secure that line. You had mentioned to me that it was busy. So I don't know if you've given him a call. It's not available? All right. Well, if it's not available, then you don't have to try because we're coming up to the top of the hour here. If he's not available to take that call, is he? Let me know yes or no. So the other thing I wanted to chat about real quickly here is something I wanted you to take a look at, and I'm looking for it right now because that I wanted to chat about here. So just an update here. Tomorrow, we're going to be out at the Sheraton in downtown Los Angeles covering Don King and Bob Arum, the big promotion and media hype for a big fight. Don King is what you might think about Don King, but the one thing is for sure, Don King reinvented himself like no other. It is unbelievable how this is so full of it, but he's a very wealthy man. So we're going to hopefully get an interview with him, Don King, here on the Jesse T Show tomorrow, and I appreciate that. Lee Michaels, Claudia Chariz, saying hi to Linda Fettig, who's probably back at home. She was here visiting her daughter in L.A. Becky Romero's on with us. Arian McLang, Izzy Camillo, Deshaun McMillan, Tracy Ellman, Charles Young, just to name a few, Tiffany, Claudia. Appreciate that, guys, for checking in here to the Jesse T Show. Also saying hi to Jeff Abby Schneider over here and Maserati Martinez. I like that. I like that new Maserati. I like the GT Maserati. Maserati Martinez, $185,000. Like that car, but I also like the new Bugattis. That's like $3, $4, $5 million. Sydney Colston has us on. Thanks a lot, Sydney. And SBC Consulting has us on. I appreciate that. I guess we haven't been able to get in touch with Jeff Langton. Well, that's okay. We talked a lot about what was going on. I just wanted to get his boxing point of view. He's probably busy taking care of some business in that respect. White supremacist Dylan Roof was sentenced to death. Thank you for that. Fighting the family human trafficking thing. And this white supremacist Dylan Roof was sentenced to death in Charleston, South Carolina for racially motivated attacks in 2015 on the church members, killing 9 black church members. They sentenced him to death. I like that. Thank you. They should now just go out and take him out the yard and shoot him. Did you know that these false religious guys like Osteen and all these scumbags, that their group religion, these big mega churches, The religion in this country is worth $1.2 trillion a year collectively. It's an amazing amount of money that Americans spend to go to these pathetic hucksters and con men. They got the greatest con, I swear. They collectively, they make more than America's 10 biggest tech companies. Is that just amazing? $1.2 trillion a year. Yet we keep going to them. Why is that, folks? Why do you go to these people? I mean, really? It's unbelievable. And you stand there with your hands up in the air and you wave them like you just don't care. I mean, really? That's not, in my opinion, that they're just stealing your money. It's just taking your money. $1.2 trillion. What do you get out of it? You have to have a personal relationship with your God. Not go and give them money. These people, they're just scallywags. Come on, they're healing people on stage. They go to prison and they come out and they got saved by Jesus. Really? Study the Bible and how it was put together in the 14 books that the Catholic Church took out of the Bible in the 17th century, in the early 1600s. Study the Bible and how the Jesuits and the Protestant Reformation and how the concept of Christendom and Christianity came around and how the Catholic Church wanted indulgences. That's how you got to God, by giving up the money. Yeah, they give up $1.2 trillion. You get to God by faith. And that's what the Protestant Reformation was all about in 1517. And the Jesuits were created in 1541 to kill all those people, but they couldn't because faith became more popular than giving money. It's unbelievable what people do. I think President Trump should win the Peace Prize. He really did something for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think he should, not like Obama did nothing for it except give money away to Iran. But I think that President Trump, he's totally responsible for strong-arming and putting the clamps down on China. What happened to this big trade deficit thing? No, we don't have that. It's the art of the deal, guys. Read his 2 books. You want to figure out Donald Trump? Read his 2 books, Art of the Deal, and the book that followed a few years after that. All right, that's what he's doing. He's a deal maker. And I don't care if he's a deal maker for himself, as long as he gives a little taste to us. I mean, that's all I care about. Give us a little taste of the action. You know? I mean, why not? No one else ever did. No one else ever in my lifetime gave us a taste of the action. Reagan did. JFK wanted to. Everybody else was just a scallywag and scumbag. Everybody. But Trump, he should get the Peace Prize. He brought North and South Korea by way of China, creating that pressure. Hey, there's a new sheriff in town. America is great again in the world. Don't believe all that hype you say that people laugh at America. They don't. This North Korean, South Korean thing. My father fought in Korea. I've been to the 38th parallel. I've been there. I've been at the DMZ zone. I've been there. Okay? They allow you to take tours of the backside of that. Okay? The South Korean side. You can't go to where both the presidents were when they crossed the line there, but it's pretty amazing. And hey, why not have nuclear weapons in the Korean Peninsula? What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with a little more peace in the world? You know, seriously, what is so wrong with that? What's so wrong with Iran and those fanatic people that run the country? And most Iranians aren't like that. Most Iranian people are Persian. They're industrious people, smart, intelligent, business-minded, educated. They have an open mind. This was one of the strong empires and economic forces of the world historically. Persia, the gateway to the Orient and Europe and Africa. Are you kidding me? And these idiot fanatics that took over the country during Carter, come on, man. Carter let that happen when they took the Shah down. How stupid can you be? Seriously. But hey, look, that's what they've done. And they got to. Why not have those people exist anymore in the world? Watch if those people weren't living in alive, those ayatollahs, right? Most of the people in Iran are not even Muslim. They aren't. They're Christian. Seriously. We need to get rid of those people because they're the governments create war, people create love. Love, baby. That's right. Love. I like that. Okay, absolutely. You know, we've got to do something about our criminal justice system. We got to put more people in jail and put them there faster and more efficient. Like this guy, Tom Brokaw. You know, now he's accused of sexual harassment, the former NBC anchor. Probably haven't heard too much about that back in the 90s. Unbelievable, huh? Why are all these left-wing lunatic liberals accused of this stuff more than the right-wing nutheads? I don't understand. It's just a fact. I'm just an observer of what I see. It's amazing. Why did the Democratic Party start and back the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crowism after the Civil War? Why were the Democrats for that and the Republicans weren't? I don't know. It's just an observation. Okay? I mean, seriously. Why is Nancy Pelosi still in government, the wicked witch of the West? I mean, didn't her husband get that deal to run the high-speed train out of California to nowhere? $1 billion deal, and it's already over budgeted, and he's never even built a railroad before. And there were companies that vied for that contract about 7 years ago. They didn't get it. He got it. Gee, I wonder if there's something there. And Frankenstein Feinstein, I'm glad she's got her husband too. Why does a new study show that white people don't like living near black people? Why is that? Why do we have these things? Why is this stuff being put out? Why? Because they want to create a division in this country. This is why. They don't want people to get together. They don't want that. They don't want people to love one another. They don't want people to share humanity. They want them to share their hate. That's what they want. They don't want people to they don't want people to share their love for each other. They want people to hate their colors. That's what they want. In the last 10 years, that's what's happened in this country. We've been divided by those power brokers that gotten into your pocketbooks and you don't even know it. Open up your eyes. Wake up. Really. Why does Prince William warn that there are too many people in the world? Because he's a friggin' depopulationist. Why do we even in this country even care about what happens in the English monarchy? Who cares about those people, those incestuous people? You talk about the Me Too movement. They ought to Me Too movement the English monarchy. What I know about they've been screwing each other literally for decades. They're not even royal blood. They're German Jews that came to the island of Brittany in the early part of the 18th century, that's the 1700s, and usurped the crown. That was broke because all the naval battles against Spain, against France, trying to keep the sun rising on the great British Empire. They couldn't afford it. They got usurped, these incestuous scumsuckers. They're depopulationists, just like Bill Gates, just like the Rockefellers, just like the Rothschilds. They want you to be eliminated. How come we don't know about China's $14 trillion debt-ridden economy? Why don't we know about that? Because they are in severe problems. This is why they don't want to take on America. They don't have the dinero to do it. This is why. Why don't we get reported to this news? Why is our country made to hate each other? Why do we hate our country, our flag, our song? It's disgusting to me. What happened to virtue, ethic, morality? This is why I like Donald Trump. You may not like him, and I really don't care. Because I can argue till I'm blue in your face. You'll be yelling and screaming and spitting at me. That's what you'll be doing. Because look at least the one thing he's pro-American. At least that. And Clinton, oh my goodness. Now this sex occult actor from Smallville is starting to attach the Clintons, to sexual perversity with children. Oh, come on. If you did any kind of research on the Clintons going all the way back to Arkansas, you would have known this. They allowed the CIA to fly in the Coke planes into Arkansas. That's where they landed. From Colombia, from Medellin. How come Clinton never went down for Eileen Wellstone, Doyle Kyle Browning, Sally Perquet, Susie Whiteage, Sandra James, Juanita Broadwick, Connie Hams, Kathleen Wiley, Paula Jones, Elizabeth Ward, Lenacola Sullivan, Christy Zakir, Jennifer Flowers, Regina Hooper, Marcia Scott, Monica Lewinsky. How come he's never suffered the consequences? Well, you know, why is the Catholic Church tortured people through the Black Pope and the Jesuit order into believing in the Christian way of Christendom by way of the Catholic Christianity? Come on, guys. Open your eyes. Why doesn't Mexico house these people at the border? Why do they got to come here? Why do we have to let them in? We don't got to let them in. We already got enough problems with people. We don't need anybody else's problems. Unless, of course, they come in legally and under proper rules and regulations. More power to you. Because that's where we all came from to this country. Even the indigenous natives and Americans that were here before anybody came to this country. They weren't born here. Nobody on this hemisphere came from here. We all came from a different part of the world going back 100,000, 1 million years. Nobody was born here. No one is pure indigenous. Thank you very much. Get that into your head, guys. Even the Indians, not politically correct. Indian. Even they are not indigenous to the Americas. When you go back far enough. Humanity came out of Africa. Humanity came out of what is known as Russia. Humanity came out of what is known as China. This is where humanity came from. We are a mixture of all of that. Everything else. Where do you think Neanderthal came from? Seriously, guys. Put your thinking caps on. Get past the illusion of what they want you to understand. Comey should be in jail and everybody associated with him. Why is he not? Hey, it's the Jesse T Show, asking lots of questions today. Maybe you can come up with some answers. Come on, T Show. Talking about its new project right here on the Jesse T Show. See, the beauty's up. Boom.